Be sure to visit the Junebug Film Store, where we have wonderful items such as mugs, t-shirts, even hoodies, and if you so happen to want, Junebug underwear. Please visit the store and purchase your Junebug Film merchandise. Available now.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sit Down by the Fire. This is episode 2. I'm here with
Eric Beerthaler. I also go by Eric Beerthaler 92. I'm a filmmaker. I made movies like with Junebug himself, and we're here with our next special guest. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Craig David Dowset. Nice to see you guys. Nice to be on the show. How are you all?
Pretty good. Thank you so much for asking.
Good. And for those who don't know, this guy played Winnie the Pooh in the horror movie. And the fact that here I am interviewing Winnie the Pooh, and this is coming from a guy who got told to have a Disney day when he was 6 years old at Disney because he yelled at Winnie the Pooh saying that he sucks. So, and for those who don't know, have a Disney day. That means essentially F you at Disney. So.
It's just so funny to imagine years later you actually would be sitting down with somebody who actually played Winnie. So
Yes.
that is hilarious.
So needless to say, as a kid, I never liked Winnie the Pooh that much, but you know, I thought the horror movie was just interesting. So
It was. I never thought that we ever would get a horror movie out of it. Like, I remember that I went on Facebook one time and I just saw it, like all these articles after articles. A Winnie the Pooh horror movie is coming out, and at first I thought it was like a fan movie or like a fan made project, like a nonprofit. But then I found out no, it's actually a legit movie. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I heard about it from.
It was a hoax at first. When we first released the images, everyone was like, "Nah, this isn't real. This can't be real." But yeah, it's a real ass movie.
Yes.
That it is.
Anyway, let's get to our questions. Number one that I have is, what are your top 5 favorite movies of all time?
Oh, top 5 favorite of all time.
I mean, you know, you could just list off some. It doesn't have to be 5, you know.
Yeah, sure. So I love the Halloween franchise, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. I like Marvel films like the Avengers, Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, all that sort of stuff. So really, that's my go-to.
Okay.
Awesome. My first question is, when Winnie the Pooh speaks at the very end of Blood and Honey, when he says, "You left," was that your voice or was that somebody else's voice?
That was like a CGI generated voice.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't get it that deep.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, if you got your voice that deep,
Yeah.
mad props.
Yeah, no, I couldn't get it that deep. So that was generated.
Okay. So pretty much when you recorded that voice, like say you didn't record your voice and then afterwards they then enhanced it with CGI, like pretty much. So
Yeah.
So was that voice entirely just CGI or what?
Yeah, so when we were shooting it, I said the words "you left" when we were filming, and then obviously they just enhanced it from that, and you know, CGI generated it to make it sound a lot deeper. But I had to say the line to then lead on to the next movement. So
Right. Makes sense. Yeah. When I first saw it at the theater, I was like, no way he speaks.
I know, well, because of copyright, I couldn't really speak like Winnie the Pooh because the main voice is still
Right.
And obviously, if I sounded like the original Winnie the Pooh in a horror film, it wouldn't really sound very scary.
Definitely not. I mean, it definitely would add to the comedy.
Well, and knowing Disney, I'm sure they've trademarked the voice anyway. So
Probably.
Yeah.
All right, Junebug. So your turn then.
obviously playing Winnie the Pooh in a horror movie would definitely kind of.
I can't hear you now.
Yeah, sound's gone.
I still can't hear you. Like, as far as I know, like, it could be like off of the Peanuts with the wah 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 wah. Yeah, Junebug, you might have to leave and then come back if you can even hear us.
Okay, I think I should be back now.
Okay, yep.
Yep.
Yep. You're back.
Okay, I swear the computer could be your best friend and your worst enemy sometimes.
Yeah.
I besides obviously, when playing Winnie the Pooh in a horror movie kind of classifies as this, but you already did that, so let's put that this aside. What would your dream role be as an actor?
Yeah, my dream role would be literally to dress up as either Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees. To be perfectly honest, they're two of my favourite franchises and horror iconic characters. Really, so that would be a dream role for me to be one of those characters.
Well, I mean, hopefully you can be a big horror icon and actually have some clout and stop that thing that's coming out on Peacock, which I guess is supposed to be a prequel to Friday the 13th about Pamela.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's interesting, but like I just don't know how many people really want to see that.
Yeah.
All right, Eric.
All right, so my next question. Were you shocked that somebody took full advantage of Winnie the Pooh being public domain and made a horror film out of it?
Sorry, repeat that again?
Okay, so my question was, were you shocked that somebody took full advantage of Winnie the Pooh being public domain and made a horror film out of it?
Yeah, no, I wasn't shocked. I mean, that's the beauty of public domain. That's what it can be used for. Once the characters go into that, it only takes someone with a creative mind to think, right, what can we do with this character? Let's try and do something that the world's never seen before. And that led us to doing the horror version of Winnie the Pooh. So yeah, no, it's never gonna shock me that happening. There's so many more characters well known that are gonna enter public domain at some point in time, and filmmakers are there to take advantage of it. That's what they do.
Okay.
Right.
Good answer. All right, Junebug, you're up.
Well, you said you're a big horror fan, so I think I could kind of guess the answer to this question. What actors would you like to work with in the future? Now that you're getting up there to be a big star playing Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, I'd love to work with James Dew Courtney. Just any high-end iconic person like that would be a dream to work with. Yeah.
Or Robert Englund or somebody like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know if it's true, but I heard he's hanging up the glove. I have read an article somewhere that I don't think he's going to be doing that for much longer, but I'm not sure if it's true or not. But yeah, I'm actually on a convention with Robert coming up in September in Massachusetts called Terror.
Wow.
Yeah, we look forward to meeting him there.
I mean, he's getting up there in age, so I mean he's 76 right now, so maybe he's just going to be selective, not necessarily retire,
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I mean, I could see him maybe voicing Freddy in like a video game or something.
That would be cool.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, so my next question. So answer this only if you're allowed to talk about it. If it turns out if you're not allowed to talk about it, that is perfectly fine. But Reese Frank Waterfield announced he's making a Bambi and a Peter Pan horror film. Are you involved with those two?
No, I'm not. No.
I'm surprised.
Yeah. I'm not sure what they want from that film or what route they're going to take, really. So, maybe they just want totally new cast for those. Yeah, I'm not sure. So no, I've got no involvement in those.
Okay. Okay, so Junebug, your next question.
What was the movie that made you want to be an actor? You know, what movie truly inspired you when you were ever talking to little Craig?
Yeah, little Craig. I suppose you got to go to Star Wars. You know, being a Jedi, messing around with sticks, pretending it's a lightsaber. You know, trying to lose yourself in imagination and act and mess about. Yeah, things like that really led me to wanting to like. Oh, yeah, I really want to be an actor and do something like that in the future.
Okay. So I guess I'll move on to my next question. Again, if you're allowed to talk about this. If not, totally fine. We can move on to the next question. So I became aware that Mickey Mouse, from the original Mickey Mouse cartoon, Steamboat Willie, will be public domain in 2024. So I got curious and I reached out to Reese Frank Waterfield, who is the director of Blood and Honey. I asked him, hey, so do you plan on making a Mickey Mouse horror film as soon as that becomes public domain? He told me yes, so I was just wondering if he said anything to you about it, and if so, do you plan on playing like the horror movie version of Mickey Mouse?
Yeah, he's not said anything to me about it. I don't know whether he is or isn't. But if he asked me to, yeah, I'd be down for that. I'd love to do that. You know, to play a second iconic character in a horror film. Yeah, sign me up. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Junebug, your next question.
What was your reaction when you were casted as Winnie the Pooh in a horror movie?
Yeah, so I worked with them before on a previous movie, and they offered me the role. They said, Craig, we've got this film coming up called Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. We'd like you to play Pooh. So I was like, I thought they were messing about at first. I thought, have these guys been drinking? Are they having a laugh or what? Right. And then they said, I will send you the script over, have a look and see what you think. And I was like, wow, this is actually, you know, this is for real. They actually want to do this. So yeah, I had to look through the script, and I thought, yeah, it's going to be so much fun and a wild ride, and just going to shock the world, you know, give people something they've never seen before. So I was hooked from the start. So I just said to them, yeah, I'd love to, you know, let's do it.
Okay. Okay, so it kind of goes to what you mentioned earlier. You mentioned that you're a big fan of the Halloween movies. Have you seen the recent ones, like Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends? And I imagine you have. What were your thoughts on them?
Yeah, Halloween Kills was a real good one for me. I really enjoyed that. Halloween Ends, I didn't think there was enough of Michael Myers in it, personally. For me as a fan watching it, I thought it was more about the other characters than Michael Myers. So yeah, it wasn't quite the grand finale I was hoping for, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, when I saw the movie, my thoughts were exactly the same. I was like, there was all this build up like to a brand new character, like they just throw in at the very last minute.
Yeah.
Michael Myers was barely in it. It didn't really feel like a satisfying conclusion to me. So yeah. I would agree.
Yeah, no, I agree too. I mean, the only thing I like about the new ones is, you know, John Carpenter has put out some of the best music of his career with his son and his godson, you know. And what I would say is that, you know, if you're going to add that new type of character, especially like a new face of the franchise, maybe build him up a little bit in the other two movies.
Yeah.
Instead of having him at the end of the last part of the trilogy.
Yeah.
Would agree, yeah.
Yeah. So number 6, direct. You know, I mean, I think I could guess with you being a big horror fan, but directors you would love to work with, you know.
Yeah, directors I would love to work with. Yeah, so Steven Spielberg, obviously, Quentin Tarantino, George Lucas. Yeah, love to work
Yeah.
with any of those.
Yeah, I mean, George Lucas pretty much retired as far as directing, and Spielberg. I mean, let's hope so. And you know, 'cause I think he's working. I don't know what he's working on next. As for Quentin Tarantino, though, I mean, how many movies does he have left before he finishes? Though, you know what I mean? Because he says, didn't he say he's only doing 10 movies or something?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
So, Eric.
All right, my next question. What was it like on set of Blood and Honey?
Yeah, it was really exciting. Yeah, the set had it had a buzz about it, really good vibe because we were all happy to be there and excited to start shooting and create something just totally different, something unique. So it had that real excitement feel to it on set, and we all got on well with each other as well. All of us. It was more like a family than colleagues. When you're working on something together with great people, great cast and crew, you just become family, and you're doing something fun, something you enjoy, and creating movie history with the iconic characters in there.
Okay.
All right. Well, my next question. Besides popcorn, what is your favorite go-to movie snack at the movie theater?
Hot dogs.
There you go. Hey, there's nothing better than a good hot dog. And especially maybe if the movie theaters do it, put some chili on it too.
Yeah, chili or ketchup and mustard is good.
Yep. All right, Eric.
Alrighty, my next question is, I imagine this is a question that he gets a lot, so I'm sorry if it's redundant to you. I'm just curious. Were you a fan of Winnie the Pooh back when you were a kid?
Yeah, I was a fan. I wouldn't say I was a massive fan, but yeah, I had read the.
Not like I was when I was 6.
Yeah, I knew the stories, but I wouldn't say I was an out and out massive fan, Winnie the Pooh fan. But yeah, to now dress up as that big yellow honey bear is quite cool.
Hey, you never know what could happen, because your career is just starting. But if you won an Oscar, what would your speech be?
Wow, yeah. I have no idea. I'd probably be standing there like stunned in silence, couldn't believe my eyes. Yeah, no, it would be a thanks speech. Really, thanks to everyone, all my supporters, friends, family. Production crew, yeah, it'll be one of gratitude if I ever got to that point.
Hey, you never know. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, my next question is, what was your first theater experience?
My first theatre experience was Independence Day. Yeah. My dad took me to the local movie theatre to watch that. Yeah, that was my first theatre experience, and that was amazing.
Okay.
I can't remember how old I was.
It was like 96, I believe.
Yeah, it came out in 96, though.
96, yeah. So I was 14.
Okay.
The first movie I remember seeing in theaters was Alaska with Charlton Heston.
Oh wow.
1995. Yes, Eric. What was your first theater experience that you remember?
Well, my parents told me when I was a baby. My parents told me that they took me to to Aladdin, the one with Robin Williams, but I was just a baby, so I don't remember that. I don't think I really can remember my first movie experience. I guess I do. I guess I do remember seeing Mighty Joe Young when I was a kid, but that's as far as my memory goes. I'm sure that I probably saw movies before that, but that's as far as it goes.
I mean, I remember one of my first ones. I remember seeing. I remember because my dad took me out of school, which was awesome. I was in the first grade. I got to see. Speaking of Roland Emmerich, Godzilla '98.
Cool.
But I mean, I was a kid. I liked it, and hey, you know what? I still like Godzilla '98. So you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, obviously, the movies nowadays, you know, just don't have that magic and that oomph now that they did back when, you know, when all of us were kids. What do you think is the best way to bring back the magic of the movies?
Yeah, that's a really tough one. That is, because like you say, it just hasn't had that buzz about it recently. I don't know why that is. It could be just because of all the streaming platforms that are available now. Like the theatres, they're not as packed as they used to be when new films come out. Yeah, I don't really know how to put the buzz back into it. Personally speaking,
I mean, here's my thing. You know, we're kind of living, and remember in the I mean, none of us were alive, but in the 50s, you know, they had TV where people wanted to stay at home rather than watch movies. And it's kind of the same now, a little bit. You know, granted, we have a lot more stuff now, but how they brought people back to the movies was they made, you know, we got, you know, the Ben-Hur, the Ten Commandments, you know, we got those event movies that people like, I have to see this. And I think that's probably the answer. And, you know, obviously, you know, don't appeal to a fraction of a percent of the population, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that's what you do. And, you know, if you have the, you know, the actual right person involved, like, I mean, look at you guys. I mean, you made a Winnie the Pooh horror movie, and the budget was originally 13,000, and then you got, because of the buzz around it, you guys got more money. So
yeah.
And
Yeah.
the internet was your greatest marketing.
It was
Pretty much, yeah. And as far as I know, the total budget of the movie was like $100,000, right?
Yeah.
And you guys, I mean, you guys made how much at the box office?
Like $5 million, I believe.
I think it's nearly up to 7 million.
Oh, so you.
The last thing I saw, I thought it was like 6.85. Yeah.
Okay, so we could just round up, say 7 million.
Yeah, it's just come out in Japan. I think it's hitting other places soon, and then it's coming out on Blu-ray and DVD in more and more countries as well.
Oh,
Okay.
I mean, so that's what I'm saying, because, you know, I first heard about this through friends of mine, and I'm like, you know, like everybody, I thought, oh yeah, right. I mean, they're making a Winnie the Pooh horror movie, but hey, they could do that. It's public domain, so whatever. But then, you know, and then I heard that I knew it was legit is because John Campea talked about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, wow, they're actually doing this. And I'm like, so that's what I'm saying. If you could create marketing around your movie, because the internet now could be your greatest marketing tool, because you could just do total self-promotion now.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the beauty of the internet. Yeah, it's your best marketing tool you can have.
Oh, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I also feel like that Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, I really feel like that it opened a lot of doors, like, for people to realize what it is that you could do, like, with the public domain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's kind of opened up this whole new subgenre of horror for fairy tale bedtime stories to be, turned into these horror versions.
I mean, what's kind of neat about it too is, in some ways, it's kind of opened it back up to the fairy tales, back to the Grimm fairy tales, in some ways.
Yeah,
that it has, yeah, because a lot of people don't realize that these fairy tales that all these Disney films are based off of actually originally were extremely dark.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Well, some of the original Grimm fairy tales, like if Disney announced that they were doing it, I'd be shocked, because some of them I'm like, I don't know how you Disney-fy some of those. Like I think there's one about like a tree or something. I can't remember what it is. But basically, I think it's basically there's no way around it. There's some cannibalism in it. Which I'm like, I don't know how you Disney-fy that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, not really about movies, but like, what are some of your favorite bands, rock bands, or music that you're into?
Yeah, so I like Foo Fighters, Oasis, U2, Coldplay. Yeah, they're some of my favourite bands.
Yeah, well, Foo Fighters are pretty good. I like them a lot. I'm gonna be kind of curious to see what their new drummer does. I mean,
yeah, he's got massive shoes to fill, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, Taylor Hawkins has to be, I would say, one of the most underrated drummers. I mean,
yeah.
And I respect Dave Grohl so much, for having that attitude. The show must go on.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that the drummer of Foo Fighters used to be the drummer for Nirvana.
Yeah. Well, technically he did. He played drums on a few albums, but he's the guitar player, and the lead singer is Dave Grohl for the Foo Fighters. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. So my question, I don't think this will be a spoiler for Blood and Honey 2. So if you're allowed to talk about it, fine. If not, that is totally fine. Is the mask used from the original Blood and Honey that you wore, is that going to be reused for Blood and Honey 2?
I actually have no idea. I'm not sure if the character's gonna look the same or if they want him to look slightly different. Yeah, I literally have no information about the sequel.
Okay, interesting, because I thought that you guys already filmed it, so it sounds like you guys haven't even filmed it yet.
No, it hasn't started production yet. No, it's still in the pre-production stage.
Okay, do you at least have an idea for when it will start to film?
No, I literally don't. No, I've not got a clue when they want to start filming it. I'm not sure if they're going to do Bambi first or the sequel for Pooh next or what. Yeah, no, it's I've not got any information.
Okay. All right, Junebug, do you have any more questions?
Nope.
All right, so I still have a few more questions, so I guess we'll finish it off there. Going back to Blood and Honey 2, do you at least have an approximation for when we might see the movie be released?
I think, don't quote me on this, but I think visually it might be released February next year. I'm only getting that from an article I read. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I've got no information on the sequel. I've not had the conversation. If they want me back as Pooh, I'd be delighted and we'll go again. But that's I'm not sure what direction they want to go with the sequel.
Okay. Yeah, and I can totally understand that they want to keep a lot of that under wraps. It's because that they don't want to have any spoilers get out there. So that's totally understandable. So I guess my final question. Jim Cummings, who is famous for being the voice of Pooh, like for the Disney version, stated that he thinks it's disgusting that they made a Winnie the Pooh horror movie. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, obviously because he's attached to the original kind, friendly bear, really, isn't he? So yeah, he's obviously going to have that opinion, which many other people have as well. And yeah, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. This is just a new version, really, for an adult audience who enjoy their horror slasher films. You know, the original Winnie the Poohs, they're sacred. They'll always be there for children to enjoy. This is just a new subgenre of it.
Yeah, definitely. And when I first heard that, oh, it's a legit movie, that got me excited. I was like, yeah, you know, like it's Winnie the Pooh for people like me, like who love horror films. So, you know, it just opens up new doors. And a very common thing that I heard, and that you probably heard as well, is that, oh, it's destroying my childhood. I'm like, your childhood was over years ago. You are an adult now. So
exactly. Yeah, it's just some people being a bit over dramatic. I mean, if they don't like it, they don't have to watch it. It's choice. It's all down to choice, really.
Well, and look at somebody like me. I mean, even as a child, like, I never liked Winnie the Pooh, you know. So it's like, for me, I was like, okay, fine, whatever, you know. I mean, so but I was like, I mean, I like the idea because, you know, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I liked it a little better than some of the other Winnie the Pooh movies, but I never was a fan because, you know, I just thought, well, I mean, it gives a unique perspective upon Winnie the Pooh, you know. I mean, you could almost do a horror. Here's an idea for people. You could almost do a horror movie, you know, because the real Christopher Robin did not like Winnie the Pooh, and, you know, there's more horror stories about that on what it did to him. So you could almost do a psychological horror movie about that, you know.
You could,
So that's where I thought they were going. But when they went to the slasher direction, I'm like, okay, cool. You know, I mean, Winnie the Pooh is now up. Who knows? Maybe Winnie the Pooh could now be up there with Jason and Dracula and Frankenstein, and at some point as far as a horror icon, you know.
That would be amazing. Yeah, we'll see in years to come. But that would be awesome.
Right.
And I also would imagine, like a Reese Craig Waterfield, like in Scott Jeffrey, I would imagine that there have been talks between them, like about having like a crossover with their Peter Pan and Bambi and Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, the possibilities are endless now, really. You could do crossovers with anything. It's like I say, it's opened up this whole new market, whole new genre. So the possibilities are endless.
Well, I mean, one of the other characters that's going to go into public domain, we're done with the questions, so we can just splurge now a little bit. But one of the other characters even going to public domain, I think, next year is Popeye.
Oh, so a Popeye or I can imagine that, like, say, like, he eats spinach, and the more spinach he eats, like, the stronger he gets. So it's kind of like Hulk in a way.
Yeah, I think
he could eat spinach, Hulk out, go on a murderous rampage. Yeah, that would be cool. So yeah, if there's any production companies out there that are thinking about doing that, yeah, give me a call. Yeah.
I mean, I think I could see him as Bluto.
Yeah.
You know, because I think the rights with Popeye are kind of weird because I think Olive Oil is in the public domain, but because she was originally in the comics before Popeye appeared. But it's one of those like weird legal issues, sort of like, hey, I respect the director of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, for doing a Mickey Mouse horror movie, because that's walking on eggshells, because Disney would find some way to trademark that where basically it is Mickey Mouse, but you can't call him Mickey Mouse. I mean, if they haven't already, they probably already even trademarked Steamboat Willie.
So at most you might have to call him like Mickey Mouse, or maybe
even
change the spelling of Mickey Mouse, or
maybe, or you know what, you could probably, the only way I could see it is, I don't know if they owned a trademark, but the band Rat was originally called Mickey Rat, and Disney said, hey, this is trademark infringement, which rat and mouse are different animals, Disney.
They are.
They could probably, they could. You might as well just call up Rat and say, hey, if they don't own the trademark on Mickey Rat, can we just say, no, this isn't Mickey Mouse, this is Mickey Rat, you know? Because that's unless you or call him Mick Rat or something like that, you know. But Disney, I'm like, ooh, talking on such eggshells because
That's
you know.
Yeah.
And but it truly is amazing though. You actually look up all the characters that are like that's what I love about this though. It's how this little movement that is that people are now making public domain movies, public domain characters out of these characters, and horror movies out of it. It's kind of interesting, because I think others have been announced besides the ones that he's working on too. So
yeah. And I also know that they did do a Grinch horror movie. I wanted to see that, but unfortunately, none of the theaters in my area were playing it. So, did you ever watch it?
I didn't watch it. No, I've not seen that yet.
And I think they got away with that because they said it's not the Grinch. They said it's parody as well, or something like that.
Yeah, like.
Oh, right.
Which.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So. They didn't call him the Grinch. Instead, they called him the Mean One. Even though he's not called the Grinch, he still clearly is.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. There's ways around it. You've just got to be careful with what's trademarked and what isn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's well, Eric here wanted to do, a public domain characters, and we were looking at it. And looking at public domain characters that he wanted to do as far as horror movies, and I'm like, okay, well, let's just look up the list. And some of them were like, well, yeah, they are public domain, but do they have name recognition as like Winnie the Pooh? I mean, Felix the Cat, for instance, is public domain, but does Felix the Cat have the name recognition of Winnie the Pooh? Not really.
No, yeah.
And so then Eric can tell you what I said. Well, there is one thing you can do.
Yeah, we did research, and so the movies are not public domain, but the book is. We saw that Dr. Dolittle actually is public domain.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but then we thought
horror movie.
Well, we thought about that, but then I'm like, well, that's going to be so expensive doing the animals,
Yeah, it would,
And then it would get really weird because like. What do you do with Dr. Dolittle as far as a horror movie? Is he going to be a member of PETA and then sit there and attack? Send the animals to attack people?
Yeah.
I mean, and I thought that would just be, I don't know. So but then I told him, well, there is one thing we could do. Eric, you want to tell him?
Okay, so now it's funny. It's because I have like that Universal Monsters bed sheet. So the original Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi movies actually will be public domain in 2026. So then we realized, hey, the first thing that comes to mind whenever people hear the word Frankenstein or Dracula, are those two movies. So we thought, hey, why don't we do Dracula versus the Frankenstein monster?
Yeah, like Freddy versus Jason?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that would be amazing, actually. That would be epic. Yeah. Get me involved in that, guys.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That would be iconic.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And so, we do plan on launching the Kickstarter soon. So, as soon as the Kickstarter is launched, if you could share it as much as you could, we would greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, of course I will, guys. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Well, it's funny when you actually announce that to people that you're doing Dracula versus the Frankenstein monster, and you plan on calling it that title, Dracula versus the Frankenstein's monster. That you tell people you're doing that. That's usually always the reaction. Like they say, "Oh, beef," or or they literally that would be epic. That people And that's what I said, I mean, to me, that's the next step with the Winnie the Pooh thing, because it's like, well, I mean, people have been waiting for that for almost 100 years, and a good movie of it, not like the ones from the early 70s, because those ones suck.
Eric's frozen.
Uh-oh.
Eric, you're frozen.
But no, I thought to myself, wow, they're doing that. That was my whole thing, is the Winnie the Pooh horror movie. It's like, wow. But hey,
Okay, I'm back. I'm guessing it was just my internet connection, but yeah, sorry about that. So, anyways, that whole thing with Dracula versus the Frankenstein monster would have never happened if it wasn't for Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey giving us that idea of what we can do with the public.
Exactly. That's the beauty of it. It's now giving people ideas of what exactly can be done, and what you can do with these characters, and it's great because it's going to create so many more films, exciting films for fans to see and enjoy and have a good time with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and because of that, I do feel like that Winnie the Pooh movie you worked on, I definitely do feel like that it did make cinema history.
Yeah. I just hope that people enjoyed watching it. Really, I mean, we tried to do what we could with the budget we had and the time scale we had, and we just wanted. It's one of those movies where you don't take it too seriously. You sit back, relax, have a good time with it, have some fun with it. It's Winnie the Pooh with a knife in the end, so
Yeah.
I'm probably in my Toby.
Yes.
Yeah. Now I guess he just has to worry about some other director now wanting to make a Winnie the Pooh horror movie, a rival Winnie the Pooh horror movie or something, right?
Yeah. Steve, I don't know if it's true, but what I heard is they've trademarked the horror version of Winnie the Pooh now, so nobody can do that. Whether that's accurate or not, I don't know. But that's
I didn't hear anything about that, but
well, that would.
But I did hear something like about how DreamWorks now is doing their own version of Winnie the Pooh. It's because of the original book's not public domain. So.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Oh, maybe then. Yeah.
I did hear that, but I didn't hear about how the horror movie version is now trademarked. I didn't hear that at all.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that would depend on the whoever the distributor is. I mean, they would probably be the ones that trademarked it, I would assume. But
Yeah.
I mean, so no, I mean I find it just interesting, because that's what I love is that, I mean, in some ways you guys were very revolutionary because, I mean, on all of you who made it, because it's like, wow, you guys kind of started a movement in Hollywood, rather than, hey, some of those fan films, especially like the Friday the 13th ones, they're good, but you're walking on eggshells when you make them. Now it's like, wow, wait, we can do something like this and make a horror movie version out of this character, and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, as far as the Mickey Mouse one, I actually just thought of a title. It could be a parody of the title Last House on the Left. Maybe they could just call it Last House on... They could call it Last Mouse on the Left.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, like, maybe, well, like that, it clearly is Mickey Mouse, but they just call him Mouse.
Yeah, or something.
There will be ways around that, but who knows? I mean, if the rumor's true right now, I mean, Disney might lose everything because from what I've heard today, Disney might be for sale.
Yeah. I mean,
I heard that something COVID probably.
Well, I think there was a lot of other things besides COVID, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I probably should have asked this. So with the pandemic, did that make it hard at all? Like to film the Winnie the Pooh horror film at all?
So that was filmed after COVID. So COVID didn't really affect it. Restrictions had gone by then. So no, that didn't have any impact on production.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, I certainly don't want to take up too much of your time, but yeah, thank you.
No, thank you guys. It's been great talking to you. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And yeah, and as soon as I get more information about Dracula versus Frankenstein monster, I'll be sure to reach out.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, you've caught my interest now. Yeah, I'm excited to hear more about that. I've got my imagination's going wild now.
All right, cool, awesome. Well, you have a fantastic day.
All right.
Thank you guys. You have a good day. Take care.
You as well.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was fun.